Our contributions in education will be our legacy in this industry.
Whether it's through live education or maybe through social media, we're always trying to make a personal connection with you, the learner.
At Sanvia, we believe our smile is our business card and our personality is our logo. And how we make people feel after you experience our education and tools is our trademark.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us, my friends, and be a part of the Sanvia community.
Hey friends, Andrew Carruthers, Education Director for Sanvia. Welcome to another episode of Wellness Wednesday. This is our opportunity to offer you something a little bit different from our typical hairdressing content, where we get to talk about more wellness-based information. Hi, Zelda, Mavis, Maria, Hair Center Education. I hope your girlfriend doesn't see that either. She's going to be upset with you. I love Adina Das too, though, so I get it. I totally get it. But this week, we have a special guest. Her name is Adina Das. She is a pretty incredible person. I met her, I want to say maybe it was just like 5 years ago. It wasn't right when I first started working for Sammy. And she really just kind of struck me as this just super bright energy that she has. It's this very like happy-go-lucky. She's very present when you're having a conversation with her. She's always just like right there with you, which is something I always look for in a person. I think that's so beautiful when people can just kind of like directly connect with you in a conversation. Ever since I met her, we've kind of wanted to do some kind of work together, hairdressing wise. And so how cool that we're finally getting to do some work together. And it's more from a wellness standpoint. So everyone, if you can put your hands together, let's bring on Miss Adina Das. Hi, Adina.
Yay, I'm here. We're here. We're doing it.
Yes. Finally, yes. we get to do something together. Right?
Yeah. Say?
I was just saying, finally, we get to do something together.
Yeah, right?
I love the setup you have behind you, too.
I want to say hi to everybody that's joining us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to do our best to like serve whatever it is that your need is while you're here with us today.
Absolutely. So, Adina, you're a Redken artist, but yes, you also have this conscious community that you kind of serve. Like, tell us a little bit about like how hairdressing and this kind of consciousness community is all swam together in your life.
Absolutely. So I work behind the chair, steady 4 days a week when I'm in town. When I was traveling, that was amazing. I am a Redken artist. So I have been with Redken for over 20 years now, which is a really, really beautifully long time. And as I'm on this journey with being behind the chair and serving others through education, there was a calling to me, and it was more about getting more in tap with myself and what it is that I needed in order to show up better for myself so that I could show up better for other people. And along that journey, I started to dive into whatever I was being called to, which was education outside of the beauty industry. And that was like self-help books. I've always been fascinated with self-help books. That's pretty much the only kind of book you could ever get me to read was a self-help book. Like, how can I make me better? When it came to technical skills behind the chair, that was very relevant and important also. So, as I've nailed the outer beauty portion, which is beautiful haircuts, beautiful color, styling, and sharing with my guests how to make them look beautiful on the outside, while I was on this journey of self, I would just share, you know how it goes. They're like, how are you? And I'm like, I'm doing this awesome thing. I'm reading this great book. And sharing with them what it was that I was doing for myself. And then along that, I started to take these courses, and this like magical world started to appear for me. And one of the first courses I took was a crystal reading course. And so, of course, a guest comes in, how are you doing? What's going on? What's new with you? And once we got past the education portion, or should I say the consultation, once I got past the consultation portion and really got into the groove of what we were doing for them, when there was that downtime where we spend about 20 to 30% of the time catching up and getting to know each other, I would tell them what I was doing. I'm taking a crystal reading course. Well, what is that? I'm like, I get to read crystals. And what does that mean? I pick up here, if you pick a crystal, then I can tell you why you picked it. Let's do it. See what happens. And I was doing that. I gave myself like a 2-year apprenticeship program, personal apprenticeship, where I spent 2 years really integrating what it was that I was doing for myself, and then sharing with my guests. And there were certain guests that were like, no, I'm good. And then there were certain guests that were like, give it to me, whatever you've got. So I started integrating this, this inner beauty portion. Well, that's what I deemed it. I deemed it inner beauty. So as guests were sitting in my chair and I was having these conversations with them, it allowed us to delve a lot deeper into their spirit. And along that, I deemed it inner beauty services, and it allowed me to connect with them on a level. And what I realized is how important it was for them. It brought not only the service that I was providing them for their exterior, but they left there feeling beautiful, shiny, and empowered on the inside also. And that is where inner beauty came from.
Very cool. I feel like I'm seeing so many more people within the hair industry tap into these other places. Like you have people like the spiritual hairdresser, and like there's all these different things popping up. I have another hairdresser coming on next week named Carlo Novoa, who he is a certified spiritual teacher. And like I think it's so interesting how the beauty industry does tend to bring that out within us, these more spiritual, more wellness based aspects. It's just a cool place to find that.
Absolutely. And you have to think we talk about how close we are with our guests and how vulnerable they actually open themselves up to be in our space. And it's what we can do with that and how we can help them feel great. And it's really about bringing the service back to them and about their service. And not only do we get to do it for the exterior, but we can also do it for the interior, or like the inside, right? And so the collective community, or my conscious community, which I deemed it, I don't know, it just kind of comes up. So every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., about a year and a half ago, I jumped on Instagram at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday, and I had partnered with somebody else who I started this journey with. But since they have kind of like tailored off, which is fine, right? I kept going and I kept this momentum just because I realized when it comes down to empowering humans and helping them just feel good, that's what I'm here for. I don't want to make anybody do anything. I want to make people feel good. Feel good, damn it. I caught some of that one this morning when you were on there. It's like, but it's really just about empowering humans and giving them tools. It's proper tools and things that they could do on a daily basis, but not only on a daily basis, but on a momentary basis to help themselves feel great for themselves. And then in turn, be able to feel great and be great on more steadily. So when it comes to the relevance of being behind the chair, because yes, I'm actually also in the midst of being certified as like in this whole energy codes. I am for spiritual teachings and what have you. I'm doing that for me, but in turn, it's to share. I need to have the rememberings of what I truly and authentically know for myself so that I can share with the people. It's like I'm doing everybody's homework for them.
Yeah.
right? Let me do the homework. Let me tell you how it goes. And it's just been so great to help people just breathe better. And then what it does is it allows people to kind of wake up to themselves and remember why they came here, remember why they got into the industry, remember how they show up for themselves so that they can in turn show up for all of their guests. And these are empowering tools to show up for yourself every morning, but it's also how we can create sustainability and longevity behind the chair. And one of the things that got me most was seeing all these memes of hairdressers at the end of a long day with a bottle of vodka in their hand, or the bottle of wine in their hand, or whatever the quote unquote coping mechanism was to get past their day so that they can turn and have another day. Well, in the end, as much as I love a good celebration, as much as I love to celebrate those wins and have a good night of, celebrating that win, it shouldn't be a way of life. Wine shouldn't be my coping mechanism to be able to get through and feel better. This is about finding different ways and different ways of coping and about balancing body, mind, and spirit. And it is like a drug. It is like the alcohol, and it's way more satisfying. I don't feel terrible the next day, right?
Yeah.
And it is, you guys, like you said, the rise in consciousness is happening, and especially because we come into such direct and beautiful contact with our guests, of course it happens within our industry. We're touching people's crown chakras, and we're so engaged with them energetically, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, give her a thumbs up or a heart if you got into this industry with that purpose of serving and helping others. Let's see a big thumbs up or a heart, or say yes in the comments, or so we know that you guys are out there with us. But Brian just asked a question, Brian Palomino from our YouTube channel, which I think is a perfect segue into us starting to kind of talk about these 7 steps of client service, because he's spot on, especially right now. I mean, we always have clients that
show that again so I can read it.
Yeah, we always have clients that bring in that negative energy, but especially right now, we have lots of people coming through the doors, bringing in lots of energy that isn't the most uplifting. So I know part of this 7 steps that you're going to share with us is about how do we set ourselves up to keep our energy in the right place and to continue to be that supportive lifeline to our clientele. So kick that off for us.
Absolutely. So it was a great question, Brian. Thank you for that. And it is about how we wake up in the morning, and the 7 steps to a guest experience. The first step is how you wake up in the morning. Now, there's different types of people, and and you might transition along the way, but let's think for ourselves. And just like Andrew had just asked, like, how is it? How did you start in this industry? We started with this vigor and this fire of being able to serve and make our guests feel good, and then along the journey we got in and we were doing the things and we're doing hair, and everybody comes in, and now I have like 3 guests, 5 guests, 10 guests. And all of a sudden by the end of the day, I'm whipped around with everybody's energy. And I'm like, that's no wonder I need a glass of wine or something else to help me feel better. But if we wake up, step number 1 is, how do you wake up for yourself? And so what I'm going to suggest is that you wake up a little bit earlier than expected, that you set the alarm a little bit earlier than what you used to. So we don't wake up in a flurry, turn the alarm off, don't have time to prep our food, don't have time to have our coffee or any kind of morning ritual. We're, maybe taking a shower if we have time, running out the door. If this resonates for you, it's okay. But running out the door, grabbing the Starbucks, because I can't not grab the Starbucks, and then blazing through the front doors of my establishment in a hurry flurry to get in and get started. Like, whew, that's just exhausting. And I haven't even opened the front doors, right? Are you guys with me on that one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That was major. And I'm just talking about it.
I think hairdressers basically have created the success for Starbucks.
Right, totally. Because not only do we have the one in the morning, but we have the one in the middle of the morning and the one in the afternoon to kick us continue so we could work till 9 and 10 o'clock at night, right?
Seriously.
So the first of the 7 steps is to wake up to yourself. And, we only have limited time here. And so that's, if you want to know more about some of the steps, then that's where you'll drive yourself to my mastery page. I have a few videos on my IG channel, but I have been starting to collect the videos from our Wednesday lives, because every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I get on there and I take you through some of the steps and like new thoughts, new ideas. And the people that are there, some of the community also share some of the things that they're doing and what's working for them. And so we talk about breath, and we know that we breathe normal every single day. And sometimes our breath is, shallow, and sometimes we feel tense, and sometimes, whatever the scenario is, but really taking a conscious effort to understand our breath and how we're managing our breath. And when we think about our breath, we'll actually start to be able to evaluate what's happening with our breath. So it's conscious breath is the first step. My suggestion is always to, before we eat, our feet even touch the ground in the morning, as our mind wakes up, and don't even open your eyes yet, and take 3 simple breaths. How many breaths, guys? 3.
3.
Right? Yeah, I love the morning time. Good job, Celeste. Oh God, I used to never give myself enough time in the morning, and I wondered why I was always so frazzled. It's okay. A lot of people are, it's like, oh God, just don't damn yourself for it. Just, now that I'm aware, I can start to manage this. And so we talk about the 3 simple breaths, and the 3 simple breaths is working through your breath and really taking a conscious effort to understand where my breath is traveling to. And if we understand, and we, what had Brian, I believe it was Brian, had asked earlier, like, how do I manage my own energy? This is part of it, guys. So what I do is if I understand that I am of collective energy, and my energy doesn't just sit here within myself, my energy is expansive. My energy actually sits outside of me, like arm's distance, if not more, away. Then I can start to control that. And these breaths, and the breath that I'm going to share with you right now, helps you understand taking your breath to the next level. Now, in our physical form, because we have physical form and energetic form, and what you're doing is you're integrating these two to create more personal alignment. Now, what happens is we have the energy wheelhouse that's in the center of our body. Some people, if you guys are like in the world of the world, then you know that it's your chakra system. If you want to know more about that world, again, just, I'm in a DM away. I'm really easy to contact, or feel free to go back to any of those videos that I talked about on my IG channel. Now, the central channel is what we call our crown chakra, our third eye, a throat chakra, our heart chakra, our solar plexus, our sacral, and then our root chakra. So that's the central channel. And if I know that the central channel, I'm not going to go into details on this, but if I know that the central channel sits in the center of my body, then I'm bringing breath down and through that central channel, out the bottom of my feet and out the bottom of my feet. Then I'm taking the next breath up my feet, back through that central channel, and back up and out the top of my head. Now I'm like starting to feel myself integrate. And now I can start to feel eventually you start to feel the atoms in your body. It's really delicious. This is just 3 of the simple breaths. But then the next step would be to, now that I can start to feel that energy become a little bit more controlled, in the sense of the only thing I can control is myself. Now I'm going to take that next breath from above my head and go back down through my central channel. And what we could do, all this does, guys, we're in the industry. So all it takes is just a wild imagination, and that's all you need. Just imagine it. Well, is this real? It doesn't even matter. Make shit up.
Right.
Yeah. But imagine just like you're pulling all this beautiful light through yourself, and then go back down through that central channel and through your body. Now I say 3 because that's what when you start to really feel it, but some days you might need a little bit more breath. So we haven't even opened our eyes, and it only takes seconds to integrate this as we take those 3 central channel breaths. And now I start to engage and get more centered within myself. Then the next step, to wake up to yourself and really integrate this wellness into for me, so that I can in turn serve, right, whoever I come into contact with. Then I'm going to set an intention for my day. So now I have my breath that I did, and then I'm going to set an intention. And sometimes my intention is maybe I'm calling in something that I need for the day, because we wake up in certain moods, right? I'm like this, like morning, noon, and night, unless I'm sleeping. Best friend in your thread, I missed it. But
she was just, or he or she, I'm not sure if, but it said, the comment was, it's mental. Go to the salon with the intention of having a great day, and you're more likely to do so. And that actually popped up like 2 minutes before you started talking about the intention. So I was like, that's perfect. They're right on track with us.
Right? It is. It set the intention, but yet there's going to be 2 intention settings. Because I've created this understanding that we all go into the salon to serve. And the first intention that we want to create is for ourselves, and what it is that I need to stand really strong and centered in my being. And some days you might need to help yourself perceive a little bit more. Sometimes you want to feel spirit within you a little bit more. Sometimes I need to be able to speak my truth a little bit stronger. Sometimes I need a little more love. Sometimes I need a little more power. Like, call in what it is. The intention is for myself, so I can get centered with myself, so that I then can go into the salon and set the next intention, which is for the collective, right? So we're going to get selfish, so that, which isn't selfish at all, right? So we're going to take our central channel breaths, and we're going to set that first intention for myself and what it is that I would like to do for myself today to make sure that I'm showing up for myself, so that in turn I can show up for the collective. Doesn't that sound good? And reality is a lot of times what people think is that this takes a long time. It doesn't. It's taking me a minute to explain the breath and the intention setting. But the reality is, guys, is this only takes moments. This takes moments. It could take anywhere from 2 minutes. It could take 5 minutes. It could take 20. How much time do you allot yourself to do that for yourself? Then you can put your feet on the ground and go start to move into your day. But before that you pick up the phone and start looking through the emails, or pick up the phone and start scrolling through Instagram and on Facebook and trying to catch up with what you missed out while you were sleeping, really get selfish and get into yourself. And that is step 1 of really client and guest services.
Yeah, and I like that you said that this doesn't have to be some big complicated process, because so often when people think about making positive change, they make it into this thing of like, all of a sudden I must become a meditation guru. And I also like that you said, even if you don't kind of believe in the woo-woo aspect of it, well, just roll with it, because it works. Like, you don't really have to know. You don't know how electricity works, but you turn a light on and hey, the light comes on. Do you know why that happens? Probably not. So just trust that it works and keep it simple. It can be as simple as what you're saying, just a few basic breaths to just get us back into a state of coherence, to get us centered within ourselves. And I like what Tommy from Zambia said, just be internal before you begin your external. And I think that's a great way to put it. Start inside. And Jamie mentioned that, she uses prayer and mindfulness and, however that looks for you. It's just that process of taking that time to get grounded within yourself before you start this journey out into this crazy world we live in.
So going also back to what Brian had asked in the first place, just know that with that those first 3 breaths and that intention setting, you have given yourself this beautiful space around you of allowance, right? So then now I'm walking around in this beautiful light bubble because I feel good. I feel real good. I feel real centered and I feel real grounded within myself. And you can call it prayer. You can call it whatever it is that you deem to call it. It's just taking that time. Get in so you can get out. Yeah. Right, Tom? So what was my point? Oh, so now what I've done is I've given myself that space and time. So now I have this, now my energy space is here. So then when we come, that's the protective space that everyone wants to say. And I hate to say protective because I don't want you to think that we're trying to block people out. But now what we've done is we've actually given this, now we can deem it permission space. So now I can give permission to whoever I want to get into that space. And there's some people that like, no, no. And at first I used to let them affect me, but now they still show up authentically themselves and all of their beingness and all of their greatness in the end, because that's who they are. But now I'm not so affected by it because I'm looking at it from a different perspective. Does that make sense to everybody? Thumbs up? It does. Right? So permission space. So now each guest that comes in, I now allow permission in, I connect with them on a deep level. And then when they go to leave, now we've allotted ourselves time and space, not only to clean and sanitize, but this is what I wanted everybody to do from the beginning before this all happened, was set the intention for the next guest. So when you go to clean your shears in between each guest, when you go to set up your new SMA, which is sanitization maintenance area, right? We go to set up our SMA. When we go to wipe down the chairs, I'm transitioning that last guest's energy out to move with them so that now I can like take those deep breaths again, right? Just 3 deep breaths all the way through, all the way up and all the way out. Re-engage with myself so that then when the next guest comes and sits down, everything's clean. Not only my tools and my devices, but the space, energetic space around it is clean, including myself. And now I'm ready to connect with the next guest. This is what creates longevity and sustainability in our day, to maintain the same amount of energy that we had at the beginning of our day at the end of the day, because I've just done this for myself.
Awesome. Yeah. And lots of thumbs up, hell yeses from Ashley. Marissa's giving you a thumbs up. Celeste is saying yes, yes. Diane mentioned grounding in kind of the same point that you're making, grounding the chair for each client that comes in for the day. And that little added intent will get the needs met. Nyla said so good, and Emily gave you some hands. So yeah, we're all with you for sure.
So good.
So does that kind of bring us into step 2 then?
Well, step 2 is part of that morning prep. So we haven't even, we've woken up, we've taken our breaths, we've created our intention, and now we can get up, put our 2 feet on the ground. And you guys, we're busy. We're busy, busy, busy. And how many times I've heard stylists get cranky because they haven't eaten enough or they haven't prepared to eat enough. And part of this setting yourself up to win and showing up for yourself so that everyone can have a great experience is don't assume that the food will be there for you, or don't assume that you'll have the opportunity to get the food. And then so when we can't get the food because I don't have time, then I start to deplete myself, right? You got to feed the machine, guys. So part of step 2, I would say, is preparing yourself and preparing your meals, making sure that you have snacks on hand. So it's meal prepping, making sure that you have the right amount of sustainable food with you so that you'll get through the day if you have to. But if, have you guys ever made yourself lunch before? And then people are ordering and you're like, hail, I'll take one of those. And you don't even eat the lunch that you've prepared.
Yeah, totally. I used to do that all the time.
Better. Right? So making sure that there would be meal prepping. Now we can go into step 3, which is showing up and creating energy coherence as you walk in the doors. So imagine that first scenario that we talked about. Imagine blaring through late and with your coffee in your hand and you know, rushing to get in the room. Like, what are you bringing into the space, right? I'm going to go ahead and just repeat that. What are you bringing in to the space? And if you have a team, I work by myself, but if you have a team, whether you're the salon owner or whether you're part of the collective team, what are you bringing to the table for your team? It's leave it at the door. If you have certain things that don't belong in those 4 walls that, and you know, yeah, it might be 16 walls, but you guys get me, the square. What are you bringing in those 4 walls? And know that what you walk in the door with and your energy coherence is going to spew out onto all of your team members, and then in turn to each person that comes and sits in your chair. So that's why it's so important to start with step 1, because, and then go into step 2, because now I'm prepared and ready for my day. Now I'm showing up a minimum of 20 minutes early to set myself up. Okay, so I'm setting myself up in the morning. I'm walking in the door. I'm feeling fresh and fine. I'm glowing. I feel great. I'm ready. You guys feeling it? Yeah. And now I'm ready to set up my day and my business, because that's what I've come here to do. I've come here to not mix and mingle. I've come here not to talk about my problems. I've come here not to share everybody like the fight that I had with my partner yesterday. What I'm here to do is business. This is my career. Okay, it's not a job, it's a career. And not whether you're getting paid commission or whether you're a full-time it doesn't matter how you get paid. This is your career. And it's up to you to show up to your career, and the energy that you put into your career, I promise you, is the energy that you get back. What you're putting out there is what you're getting back. If you don't like what you're getting back, then I would change what I'm putting out there, which means how I'm showing up to prepare for my day. 20 minutes minimum to show up, put your stuff away, do that sanitization portion, okay, where I'm cleaning up my station and getting everything energetically and, you know, clean, sanitization wise. And then I'm going to set my business intention. This is where that second intention comes in. And the business intention is looking at my books, seeing who's coming in, seeing that if I have enough time in between each person, maybe giving myself a window of opportunity and what I'm going to do with that window of opportunity. And, you know, maybe I give myself time to take pictures. Like, there's other resources out there for you. And there are other things to implement when it comes to business planning and like your Instagram. And that's like a whole nother gig. Sure. Okay. But right now what we're doing is we're showing up for ourselves first so that we can show up for our business. And that is setting the business plan and the business intention and pre-planning my day and what that looks like and making sure that I'm set up. Now I know that Sally, Betty, Jeff, Joe, and Christina are coming in, and these are the services that I'm providing for them. Is there windows of opportunity to add another service? You guys know the business end, so plug that in, bing, 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 right? ... And then the pre-planning. And now our first guest comes in, and we are so gently prepared for them to walk in, no matter who they are, with whatever they have, even if they're a lot. I call them the Betty. And because I'm showing up differently and my perspective is different, then Betty can walk in with all of her Bettiness. And I'm prepared for Betty. And Betty can like sit down, drop her bags, and like start spewing all of the Bettiness all over the place. But I'm going to make sure that I stay in that centered space that I allotted myself to be in so that I can handle Betty differently. And now I just think Betty, instead of like, oh God, Betty's coming, instead of being scared of Betty, I'm like, hell yeah, Betty's coming. My energy shifts around our Bettys, right? How many of you guys have a Betty? We all have a Betty or two.
A Betty and a Bruce. Bruce just comes in with all his Bruciness.
We love Bruce too, because we know that Bruce knows nothing other than all of his Bruciness, right? And Betty knows nothing other than all of her Bettiness. But it's how I'm preparing for these guests to show up, and they keep coming to me. And as much as I wanted to fire them before, I don't want to fire them anymore because I know that they value me and they need me as their hair person. And they value my energy and they value what I have to offer them in the way of inner and outer beauty. Okay. And then we get into the consultation portion, and the consultation is a beautiful perspective of what is it that I can do for you. Now, how many of you guys have the person that sits down and starts talking about their day, their life, and oh my God, before you even start talking about the consultation? And so what we have to do is gently and gracefully just go, okay, what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to talk about your hair. It's been a minute since I've seen you. And I want to know like where you're at, where you're going. And that's where I want you to start connecting with them and start visualizing for them. We're artists, guys. Let's get back into our artistry and stop slanging hair color. And let's look at the people's faces and let's look at their outfit and their being and all of their nests, because it's beautiful nests. Let's look at their nests and really start to customize looks to suit them. And we'll actually start to change the way that we see them and maybe start to persuade them into the things that we want them to do. Now, in that consultation, it's what was happening before, it's where you're at, where you want to go. We have to know where you want to go, and then what we can do today to make us get closer to that end goal. And then how many appointments it's going to be. Again, part of that business aspect. There's a whole nother class for that one, right? So just making sure that during that consultation, I'm connecting with them so I can help them almost exude their best self. Because I feel like it's people's toppers, right, Andrew?
Yeah, and I think we can set the direction of the conversation so strongly within that consultation because, like you said, you kind of know the people that are going to come in and kind of railroad the conversation in the direction that they want it to go. And it's not that we want to take away any of that from anyone, of course, but if we want to have great conversations with our guests, which honestly they would probably prefer, but let's face it, the world has kind of programmed people to complain about stuff as a form of communication. It's just a way that people communicate. Oh, you think you had it bad? Listen to this. It's like there's just kind of a culture of that. So I think capturing the positivity and the uplifting energy within that first moment of the consultation it's just your opportunity to set the tone for the service.
Absolutely. So it's we will have people that come in and want to complain. And it's our job as just what kind of service and environment do I want to create for myself? And so if I allow them to complain, and a lot of times what happens is it's like, well, they've already started, so I don't want to railroad them off of that. I'll let them finish, and then an hour and a half goes by. So my suggestion would be is to grab it as fast as you can. Grab that conversation as fast as you can. And so let's just say, oh my God, can you believe what's happening? And all that that might start go, and like it could be a hand touch or something, and where you put your hand on their shoulder, or you like gesture toward them gently and just go like, I know it was crazy what we went through, right? But what's important to me is what we're going to do here today and what we're going to do moving forward. So just gently shift the conversation into something more positive. They won't even know that you've done it. Next thing you know, you can start the conversation. What are we doing with you today? What are we doing with your hair? How do you like the length? What about your texture? What about the color? And really start to get into this is your creative juices. You're going to start to feel your body get excited about service again, because now you're not just slanging haircuts, boom, 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 boom. What you're doing is you're really starting to have that conversation so that you can engage and encounter and pull and customize for the person sitting in your chair. It's awesome. Yeah. So the consultation before, during, and after, and then we get into step 6, which would be your, like the actual services. So now that we've had that consultation, we're getting into services, the balayage, all the techniques, and keep them, I would say right about now is where you kind of get into that 20 to 30% of talking and catching up, right? But keeping it positive. And I think that would be a great thought for yourself is, you know, if they want to, let's just say you had a rough time during, you know, the stay-at-home order. Maybe you were just like depressed, you weren't doing so good, you could have used some extra breaths. If that was the case, try to find for yourself the one thing that really made you happy, right? And then share that one thing with the 8 people that have come in that day. Let's just knock it down to 4. Can't see as many people right now.
Can't double book right now.
Yeah. I lied. 4. 4 to 5 people. So tell each of those people that one thing that really made you happy, and watch how that shifts you, right? Because now what you're doing is you're actually creating momentum for the thing that made you happy within yourself. That's also energy, guys, too. Or energy too, guys. What? You know what I'm talking about.
We got you.
So the words that are coming out of my mouth are the momentum of the energy that I'm bringing to the conversation. And so if you're keeping what your experience light and happy, then therefore in turn, that's what's going to start to show up. You're creating that momentum for that conversation. You have beautiful services, which is your treatments, your color treatment, your haircut, post services, and you're also, this is the part where we're really supposed to be talking, if we haven't done it already in the consultation, about what shampoos they're using, what conditioners they're using, what treatments they're using, what stylers they're using. This is the part where we're really, that's what we're supposed to be talking about. Remember, guys, out of 100% of a service, we're only talking about ourselves and them and catching up and reconnecting on a deeper level. I would say 30%, unless we're doing another woo-woo service. That's another time. We'll have to do that another time. But this is also where you start to set up the fact that you genuinely care about their hair. You genuinely care about the shampoo that they're using. If they're not using what you would suggest, then that's part of those conversations. Well, I know that you're using ... I would, in order to guarantee the services that I'm providing today, I would like for you to use ... Now, based off of what you have at home, I want you to finish that because you bought the big bottles, if it's working. But if it's not working, then here's what I want you to have today. Again, another business class. But that step 6 is really about the service and you being so enveloped in them, their hair, and their being. You genuinely care about them. You are their hair person. Be their hair person. Talk about their hair. Talk about how beautiful their hair is. Talk about the products that they use. Talk about what you would like for them to use different. But it's really important for you to set that up during the service time instead of trying to cram that in at the tail end when you don't have time, because the next person's going to come in 35 minutes. I only got 5 minutes to finish it. Are you guys with me on that one? So really just making sure that the conversation stays about them and their hair and their being. And then we get into step 7, which is setting that goal. This is what we were able to do this time. This is what we would like to do next time. So already get them excited about the next service, right? Mm-hmm. Like, ooh, this is what we did this time, and I can't wait to the next time you come in because then we're going to do this. Yeah, so exciting, right? This is the things I do. And get them excited about it. And then obviously we want to pre-book, and then we want to finalize by making sure, like when we were talking before, whether it be during the consultation or during the service, we talked about the fact that you had a shampoo and conditioner that were working. We'll see in the 8 weeks when you come back whether your color's the way I want it to be. Otherwise, I need you to shift out what you're using to what I want you to use in order to guarantee. And these are the products that we've talked about, and this is the one that, the 2 that you're going to take home. And it's like the finalizing it. And a lot of times this is where the hesitation and the resistance comes up for a lot of people, because they're like, I want to sell them some stuff. You're not selling them anything. You're their hair person. It is your job to make sure that they have the things that they need for their outer beauty portion, which is great hair care, great styling, and hot tips and tricks on to get specific end results.
Beautiful. Yeah, so with kind of setting up that next appointment too, I think that sets like that excitement in place for them, because it's great for us, like, oh yeah, I'm excited for this next service, but think about how excited the client's going to be. Oh yeah, next time, here's what's coming next. So cool.
What do we got going on over there?
I'm just kind of looking through our comments here real quick. What questions do you guys have for Adina? Love to we've got a little bit of time left, so if you guys have some specific questions.
So what I can do right now is kind of recap for anybody that just showed up. While some of those questions are coming up, it's the 7 steps to a guest experience. And in that, step 1 is starting with you, how you're waking up for yourself and how you're preparing for yourself and your day through breath and intention. Then step 2 was about prepping my entire day through nutrition and making sure that I'm serving myself nutritionally as we're working behind the chair. Step 3 is showing up and my energy coherence as I walk into the door, making sure that I'm in that lighthearted space. I'm there to not only, yes, do business, but I'm also there to have fun and play with my people. Now, if there's some underlying energies that don't meet or match that's okay. We can leave them at the door and we can deal with those once we get home, or we can call the friends later, or we can have maybe some drinks afterwards so we could talk about it. But all of our personal stuff that doesn't match what we're trying to create and the business that we're trying to create and the success and the momentum of the business that we're trying to create behind the chair and serving our guests, all that stays behind. So energy coherence. And then setting ourselves up is step 4, setting up ourselves up with setting a business intention and pre-planning our day, knowing who's coming in, having visions for them before they get there, and telling them that during the consultation, which is step 5. Consultation is, when I saw that you were coming, I had this vision of you with a new friend. Are you totally interested? That's like the first words out the gate. You've already been thinking about them. They're so excited about that. One of my favorite ones is, I was thinking about you in the shower today. I was in the shower today and I was thinking about you, and they're always like, step 5 is that consultation, really making sure it's about them and their hair, and you're really being their hair person. The follow through with the guest services, which is through treatments, the beautiful color that you're going to create, and the finish, or the design and finish that you're going to create, making sure that they're in preparedness with this through their hair products, making sure that they have the products that they need, shampoo, their hair care system, their styling system, and tips and tricks on how to get different end results. And that's step 7 is just like the follow through, set the goal for what the next appointment is, pre-booking that appointment, and all of the product recommendations, the follow through to make sure that they have what they need. And at that point, I would say you're pretty damn successful.
Yeah. What I like about the 7 steps from your perspective is they kind of have this wellness program behind it. It's not just like this business kind of step by step of like, okay, you set up your scripts and like all this kind of stuff, which, don't get me wrong, is great content, but there's lots of I think this takes it from a different perspective, which is taking it from this kind of more wholehearted, whole person standpoint. There was a question, I'd be super curious what your thought is. Let me find it again here. Tony brings up a good question, because there is definitely a lot of clients asking about purchasing product online instead of in salon, which can put a little dent in our retail program. So just curious about your perception on this.
Yeah, it's a great question, Tony. Thank you. You have to I'm their hair person. I'm their hair person. That's really, it's important for me that you use the products that I'm recommending. And so, well, I can get it off Amazon for cheaper. And all it does is come back to the same, I value myself enough and I value you enough that I'm just going to ask you gently and kindly, as your hair stylist and as your hair person, I'm going to ask that you purchase product through me to support me.
Yep.
So, you know, I function differently, and that can get, this conversation can get very hairy, pun intended.
No pun intended.
It can get hairy depending on the environment, you know, because you have your booth renter salons, you have your commission-based salons, and then you also have independent salon, right? Which is me. I'm an independent stylist. I have my own suite. And for me, there were times where guests would come in and my order maybe let's just call it like it is. I hadn't ordered it. So the product that they needed wasn't on the shelf. And so what am I to do in that moment? So luckily for me, it's up to me to make sure that I have my resources. And so one of the resources is, luckily I work in salon suites that actually provide my distribution in-house. So that's one advantage. Another advantage is have someone that manages all that for you, and it'll never not be there. And then the second one is I have become part of an affiliate program where now they can purchase product through my Instagram page. They can go to purchase product and they're still purchasing it through me, and I get a percentage of the sales no matter what they purchase through my link, which is very beneficial to me. So as a salon owner, that might be a catch for you too. Hey, I know that we don't have that today, but just go to the link on our Instagram page that will take you to somewhere where you can purchase it and still honor us. I hope that answered your question, Tony. And I hope that helps you give yourself a little bit more clarity on just really believing that you, as your hair person, I would ask that you support me and purchase the products through me. It's that simple.
Yeah. And I think you can kind of bring it back to something they're familiar with too, which is like, hey, you've probably heard about the movement of like buy local. Just so you know, like, yeah, Amazon might carry that. It might be a little less expensive, but I just want you to know that we appreciate when the money stays within our community.
Yeah.
Just, you know, and the thing is those comments or like those answers are somewhat uncomfortable, but I've had those conversations, and typically what happens next is they go, oh my gosh, you know what? I never even thought about that. Yes, of course I'll buy it here. I'm sorry. I should have never even brought up Amazon. Of course I want to support you. Like, because these people, they care about us in the same way that we care about them. So when they hear something like that, they're just like, oh yeah, duh, of course I'm buying it here.
Yeah, sometimes it's just that click for them. They never heard it before. And if you think about it, if these guests are new to you, chances are they've never heard it before, because only 82, not only, let's just go big, 82% of clients say they've never been recommended a product before, you guys. 82% of clients haven't been recommended a product. That's too many opportunities. Be the one to create that opportunity for them, and they didn't know any better. And do it with, you know, you could say whatever you want as long as it comes from the right place.
Just one more question here, just because I saw it come up. Johnny Romo commented that he's having his first barbering gig, having some major anxiety. Anything that you would offer him to help him just kind of like not. And I would say this, and I'd be curious how you feel about it. Like, be okay first with the fact that you're feeling a little bit of anxiety, because that's natural. How do we not let it take us over?
Well, you're talking to somebody who, what was the guy's name again?
Tony Romo?
Tony Romo. Okay, Tony. I've been doing this for 20 years. I still get up on stage with
Johnny Romo.
Johnny. Oh, there he is. Okay. So Johnny, after 20 years, I still get on stage with something and my hand still does this. And it's not because I'm nervous. It's just the pump And you'll always feel
Yeah.
that. But now how can I control the, I just called it pump. So how do you control the pump? The excitement and the exhilaration, that energy. I'm not freaking out. It's just my high energy, right? The grounding work is imperative. So if you were here earlier, we talked about the 3 central channel breaths that we can take. And those 3 central channel breaths can happen anytime, anywhere, wherever you are, standing, sitting, it doesn't even matter. But if I can get in alignment with my central energy, which are the biggest energy wheelhouses in your body, if I can get in alignment with that and root down, which is at our root chakra, and hold on to it real tight and get those breaths. And remember, it's not about me. It's about the information that I'm sharing with them. It's not about the technique that I'm doing. It's do what I do every day, just talk about it. Do what I do every day, just talk about it. Do what I do every day, just talk about it. Say it out loud. So do what I do every day, Johnny. Do what I do every day and just talk about it. And now I'm going to take my breaths. I'm going to make sure that I'm really grounded and really centered within myself, so that even if I am a little, high energy with my physical form, right? I know that the intention for me doing that gig is to educate people on the cool shit that I know. Sorry if I
You can say shit. It's okay.
I'm just sharing with people the cool stuff that I know. And that's it. It's not about how cool I am. It's not about how cool the haircut is. I'm just there to give people what I know. And someone shared with me, and then I learned it and I did it real good. So then I'm not going to share with the other people. It's just like the trickle down of education and information. The intention is to share and then ground yourself. And when you can do that, I promise you'll still feel a little nervous, but you'll feel a lot better.
Yeah. Yep. Beautiful. Well said. So, Adina, I think you've made lots of new friends today. So how can they stay in contact with you? What's best for them to follow you and get more education from you?
Awesome. So you can see right there on my, there's my Instagram handle, which is mastery_a.d. So that's Adina Das. You can follow me on my Instagram, and I am just a DM away. I get back to people. Somehow I have all this time, but I make sure that I get back to people. And so if you have any questions, don't hesitate. I beg you, don't hesitate. I'm right here. I'm this easy. And so just ask the questions. And then if you would like to know more about what I've shared here, I do have my Wednesday mornings, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I go live, and I call it the Conscious Community. It's just kind of what it's become. I'm not mad about it, so I'm just kind of leaving it for now. But on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we all get together on the live, and we talk about what we're doing to integrate different tools. I give you different tools to integrate into your day, different types of breath, different thoughts, different intentions, different prayer, if you want to call it prayer, or prayer also known as intention. So that's where I kind of share outside of the hair world, the outer beauty world, and I share on the Wednesday mornings. It's more about the inner beauty portion.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would love to see everybody there. I would love for you guys to chime in. Andrew popped on for the first time today. We've known each other,
I
but
watched them before. Come on now.
Huh?
It wasn't the first time I had ever seen one. I had watched some before.
Yeah.
Today was just the first time I joined you live.
I know. I was so excited about it. So, and I'm just glad that we're all on the same train, and that we got the opportunity to be here and share, and that you're helping put this idea out there. Andrew, you're doing a great job, not only in the idea of, it was exciting to know that, there is a whole bunch of us doing this, and we understand the importance and the value of bringing this, because in the end, what it does is it centers you with you, so you can show up for yourself. So then in turn, you can show up for everybody else.
Beautiful.
Yes.
I love it. Adina, thank you so much for taking time to do this with us this afternoon. Like I said, I know lots and lots of people really enjoyed this just from the comments. We've got tons of hearts and thumbs up, and we had people from all over the world join us today. So
Beautiful.
great time talking with you, and I will definitely be reaching out again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Love you.
Thank you, Adina. So next week, we have another brilliant hairdresser. His name is Carlo Novoa, and Carlo is a licensed spiritual practitioner from a group called Agape. I don't know if you guys ever saw The Secret, the movie, but Michael Beckwith, that's the first time I got to see Michael Beckwith. Agape is his spiritual center. Super powerful. So next week, Carlo is going to join us for a conversation talking about something that Adina brought up earlier, which is intention. But we're going to dig super deep into the subject of intention. So next Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right back here. And don't forget about Mannequin Mondays with Sammy. That's at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Pacific, and that's every Monday. So this coming weekend, I almost forgot, we have The Show Must Go On version 2 called The Long and Short of It. So if you were with us for The Show Must Go On, the first version, this is Show Must Go On number 2. We have 3 incredible guest artists. We have Roderick Samuels, we have Evie Peterson, and we have Lauren Moser. So we've got the entire Samvia team, incredible guest artists, tons of education for you this weekend. Head to samvia.com for more information on that. And we'll see you right here on the Facebook and YouTube channel for more education. Peace. Talk to you all later.